Welcome to episode 22 of Shane Talks 99, and I'm here to ask you one question. Does this sequel make you horny, baby? Does it? I mean, 100% truth, honesty, it definitely made 19-year-old Shane pretty horny, and I mean, that's what we're about to talk about. So let's take a look at this film and why it's one of my favorite sequels. We're talking about the sequel to Austin Powers, International Man of Mystery, which was titled Austin Powers, The Spy Who Shagged Me. And it was Jay Roach. So Jay Roach's first major studio film was the first Austin Powers movie. This one was his second, like directly followed up. One was 97, and then this was in 99. And Jay Roach definitely had a good year in 99 because in October, we're going to talk about his third studio film, which was called Mystery Alaska, hockey movie that I absolutely love. But until then, let's look at this. His second film, the first sequel that he ever made, um, he nailed it, man. This movie like stepped up everything that was good about the first movie and just made it even better. I think that because of how successful the first movie was, the studio kind of a new line gave him the ability to kind of take it a little bit farther. And I think that's why I kind of like this a little bit more. Like all the sexual innuendos, they got turned up quite a bit for this movie, in my opinion. And I mean, there was already quite a bit of it there in the first movie, but like literally almost every line of dialogue in this movie is some type of sexual reference. So this one definitely embraced the 1960s free love vibe and just stepped it up. So we got Mike Myers back as his dim-witted version of James Bond, lady womanizer type character, delivers all kinds of amazing sexual zingers throughout this entire movie. Wordplay jokes like "which is it, baby, spits or swallows," and like in reference to a character's last name and her maiden name, and then like comical wordplay like "get your hands off my hiney," and then they pull a Heineken bottle up into the screen, like all kinds of fun stuff like that. So really, really enjoy the hilarious like dialogue and stuff like that that goes on in this movie. Like Mike Myers' delivery is like A-list, top notch, perfect for this. Mike Myers also is back playing Dr. Evil again, which is fine. Like it's not the most exciting character in my opinion. He does have, I think in this film more stuff that I enjoy than in the first one. So probably another reason why I like this sequel better. The one thing that I don't care so much about this sequel, like the Jar Jar Binks character of this sequel, is Fat Bastard. Really not a fan of him. I mean, I don't know. It's definitely gross out humor, but that's just definitely like not my kind of humor. So I understand their reason and why they put it in there, but it's not my kind of thing. So it's it's character that I hate in a movie that I love, but you know, it is what it is. That's the thing. But a lot of perfect side characters come back for this movie. Michael York is back as Basil. He's perfect. Mindy Sterling is back as Frau Farbissina. She's amazing. Will Ferrell makes a comeback as Mustafa, and like as a SNL fan in the '90s, like Will Ferrell was kind of like that early 2000s was kind of when like everybody was starting to say how SNL was starting to go downhill, but like him and Molly Shannon, the cheerleaders, I had a huge affection for, like those characters and whatnot. So always made me happy to see Will Smith back, or not Will Smith, sorry, Will Ferrell at the back at the beginning of his career because I just really enjoyed like seeing him as an SNL actor getting out in the same way that Adam Sandler was going out and branching out from SNL, and obviously Will Ferrell did the exact same thing down the road. So one of Will Ferrell's early work, Seth Green comes back as Scotty Evil. He has some amazing scenes in this movie, some great dialogue. A lot of the um, a lot of the jealousy and animosity and stuff that builds towards Mini Me, I think, is really good. We got Mini Me for the first time. Actor Vern Troyer plays him, and like he plays that mini clone of Dr. Evil and just does it perfectly. Like one line of dialogue in the whole movie, but like he's amazing. Um, our new Bond girl this time, or our Austin girl or Powers girl, whatever her title would be for this series of movies. We get Heather Graham. Elizabeth Hurley came back for the opening scene. Turned out she was a fembot. I think that's hilarious. That's a very funny thing that they started off this movie with. But so we got a little bit of Elizabeth Hurley at the beginning again, and then we moved on to Heather Graham as our Bond girl this time. And I'm going to be honest, if you've seen Boogie Nights, her level of sexuality is just at a 10. Like She is perfect at playing super sexualized characters. And in this one, she's a character named Felicity Shagwell. Has a great line when she meets Austin Powers in her car, and she says, Shagwell by name, shagged very well by reputation. So again, another great sexual line of dialogue in this movie. Another early scene in the movie when she picks Austin Powers up in her car, like they just go back and forth with this sexual banter that is like top notch, really good, really well done. And it kind of like shows you that her character is literally like not just supposed to be like the female version of Austin Powers, but like the female equal to Austin Powers. Like they go back and forth at it. They both have their one-liners. Like I'm really, really digging it. Like she doesn't end up just being a conquest for Austin Powers, but like a counterpart, like yin to his yang type character thing. And I really like watching their chemistry as we get Rob Lowe as the young number two, and let's address that. Wait. I mean, aside from the fact that that's perfect casting, Rob Lowe is doing a perfect Robert Wagner impression, and that's just icing on the cake for how well that character is done. Because what I want to address with that is we get a young number two because this film includes time travel. Everybody knows I'm a huge time travel person. I'm a Back to the Future person. Like I love stuff like this. So the fact that they throw time travel like into this movie, and then they even have a moment of like fourth wall breaking, like as they're trying to argue over like the implications and repercussions from time travel. They literally just look at the screen and they tell the audience, "Don't overthink it." And it's true, and it works. I really enjoy that part of the movie. This movie also is loaded with cameos. David Koechner, probably one of his early roles. I didn't look that up, but he plays an airplane pilot in this movie. A guy named Kevin Durand plays an assassin. He is also going to show up in Jay Roach's film Mystery Alaska in October, and he's one of the main characters of that. So I have a feeling working together on this movie definitely played into that. Mike Haggerty, who is also known as Mr. Trigger on Friends, he's in this movie. Comedian Jeff Garlin, Kristen Johnson, Fred Willard, Moose Watson from I Know What You Did Last Summer as a cameo in this movie. Clint Howard is in it. Tim Robbins plays the president. Stifler's mom is in this movie, Jennifer Coolidge, which we haven't talked about Stifler's mom yet, so I'm getting a little ahead of myself there. Next month, I'm pretty sure it's a July release. We'll talk about American Pie and we'll go into some Stifler's mom and more sexuality in the summer of 1999. So, we'll get there here in a month. A couple of famous people play themselves. We got Willie Nelson, Woody Harrelson, Rebecca Romaine Stamos. I think she was Rebecca Romaine Stamos at that time because the next year would be X-Men, and I think she was Rebecca Romaine Stamos in the X-Men. So I think she's married to John Stamos at this point. Rebecca Romaine, whatever, at that point, she's in this movie. Jerry Springer plays himself in this movie. Burt Baccarat and Elvis Costello play themselves in this movie. And let's use that as a segue to start talking about the music in this flick. This flick has an amazing amount of freaking phenomenal music. Because not only do they get to use like new, popular, cool stuff from 1999, the fact that the film is set in 1969 just brings in all of that great music. So like we get the Who, the Guess Who, the Monkees, Steppenwolf and Marvin Gaye are in this movie. Like, and then for the modern stuff, we get Madonna. Madonna had a new song called "Beautiful Stranger" in this movie. Lenny Kravitz records a version of American Woman that makes it into this movie. Like um, and then we've got Dr. Evil and Mini Me who do a rewritten, revised version of just the two of us. And it is, I mean, I love that scene. That scene is hilarious. The way the dialogue is written for that scene is really fun. And then I mean they dance, at least for the end of the sequence, and I can't stop laughing every time I watch that. So great music in this movie, a lot of good one-liners in this movie, and then there's a whole like a huge amount of movie spoofs in this movie, or like movie references, or like just like directly talking about a movie, like stuff that I absolutely love in film. And so like this movie, I'm sure there are hundreds of them that I don't even get and don't even recognize, but like there's nods to the Yellow Submarine. They talk about the Death Star. There's the "I am your father" line. So we got a couple of Star Wars references in here. You talk about Willy Wonka when you mentioned the Oompa Loompas. There's an Exorcist reference when Dr. Evil talks about when Mike Myers talks about needing a young priest and an old priest to show up. So like, what else we got? There's footage from Independence Day when Dr. Evil is talking to the president. He's in that same scene. He's quoting Jerry Maguire, and then Scotty Evil starts, making comments about Jerry Maguire's a movie that hasn't even come out yet and stuff like that. Like, there's also a couple of callbacks to the Wayne's World movies in there with some of the gags that Mike Myers does. Like, this sequel has a lot, and most sequels don't do a good job. And like, not even saying that this sequel reinvented the wheel, it's still just spoofing a James Bond movie. I'm pretty sure Moonraker is spoofed in this movie. Just still a lot of fun. Like, it's a sequel that I really find enjoyable, that I actually enjoy more than the original. And it's crazy because here in 99, in November, we're going to do this all over again. We're going to talk about another sequel that I actually prefer more than the original when we talk about Toy Story 2. And again, in no way am I saying anything bad about the first movies. Toy Story 1 is a great movie. I just prefer Toy Story 2. International Man of Mystery is a fun movie. I just prefer The Spy Who Shagged Me. Like, it is rare. It doesn't happen often, but personally, I think that this is an amazing sequel. I think it's better than the original, and I enjoy it more than the original. We don't have to wait a full week to talk to each other again because in 1999, there was a Wednesday release. Wednesday, the 16th of June, was the release of the Disney film Tarzan. So I'll be back in 5 days to talk about Tarzan, which also has some really great music that we're going to talk about. So thanks for listening to me ramble about this movie. I appreciate you.